It's very difficult to go from, hey, Billy, I kind of had a crush on, I kind of know him, I go to school with him, to, oh, I got to rip out his eyeballs and, you know, knee him in the groin because he doesn't know what no means and he's not letting me go. Without a framework to justify that in your mind, it's difficult to do. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying if you can do it, great. But I'm saying from my experience of working with these types of groups and hearing a lot of both police officers and individuals like yourself, it's hard to make that distinction when you're in the thick of it. Because you're like, man, to be able to really do that type of damage to somebody, talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, it takes a lot. But you can do it. So to have a framework and a systematic approach to get through that is very important, and that's where the verbal negotiations come and the de-escalation tactics. I have a program that's in the seminar program. It's called Bark with a B, and it brings you step by step what to do, and it's like a checklist, and it's giving them the option at each stopping point to make the right decision. You're helping them to make the right decision. That's best for both of you, because he doesn't, I'm sure, want to go to jail. He doesn't want for you to, you know, gouge out his eyes and hit him in the jimmies. You know, he doesn't want to be kicked out of school and ostracized from his friends and all that. And even if he is able to commit the crime, he doesn't want that either, even if he thinks he does, because it's not healthy psychologically. I talk to those guys too. It's not healthy. They're not happy people. So to help him to make the right decision for both of you, there is a stepped process. And then at the end of it, if he continues not to comply, you know exactly what your options are. And I'll tell you what they are. There are 3 options. If you get from the beginning to the end, you draw your boundaries, you try negotiating, and again, go through the step-by-step process. At the end, you have 3 choices. One would be some type of a deterrent. And this sounds kind of sick, so hold with me. But puke on him, pee on him, poop on him, tell him you have some nasty disease, froth at the mouth, act crazy, whatever, for him to go, wow, that's a lot of something I don't want. And I've heard of all those stories working. But it takes a special person to be able to do that too, right? So that's a deterrent. Or you go physical. And this is assuming he does not let you go. This is assuming he will not let you go just by asking him. So deterrent, you go physical. You decide it's time to go, you know, J-Lo on him from enough. And then the third thing would be submit. And when I say submit, basically you're relinquishing your power to him of however he wants to handle it. Whether he's going to abuse you, whether he's going to let you go, whatever it might be. And those really are the 3 choices at a certain point. What I try doing is taking all those ambiguous, fuzzy ideas and making it a systematic approach to have a framework in your mind to go from 0 to 10 and know what all the parameters are. It's just like when a police officer pulls you over. He has a script that he goes by. They haven't always had that, you know. Again, back to kind of our beginning of the conversation. Do you know why I pulled you over, ma'am? Could I see your ID? Could I see your proof of insurance? If you do not comply, there is a procedure that he will go through, or she will go through. The same thing I give in the program. It's slightly different because the objectives are different, but it's a program, so a little checklist in your head. If you didn't do that. So what you want to do is have that alignment. If you have to go physical to do so, and you kind of erase the emotions away, you're just judging by the actions to do it to survive. So the program, the seminar program goes in all the areas that we have right now in more depth. Then we'll also hit basically more about risk management, how the game comes together and all the elements of the game. Predator, prey, the objective, the environments, the rules of engagement, the rules of behavior, and how to control your playing field. And all those are a little bit, and we have drills and that we do scenario training. Then negotiation tactics, the if-then. If he does this, then you do this. You know, the bark with the bee, that whole gamut of step-by-step process of how to do it. Different types of negotiation. Feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel. I felt that way too. What I found is this. But all these different little tricks on how to talk to somebody. And then triggers. We talk about triggers of how, if you have to go physical. One of the big things that we have as civilians against us is we're going along our day-to-day experience thinking about the next date we're going to go on, and the next test you've got coming up and the homework you have due, and oh, mom wants me to do this. And all of a sudden, you're in this circumstance that's assault, physical, life and death, be assaulted or not be assaulted situation, and your ability to shift gears quickly is very, very important. If somebody holds a knife up to your throat and says, "Give me your money." Wow. I was just thinking about my, my algebra exam. Excuse me. I'm not ready for this. But you have to shift gears, so you're do that, and there are little tricks of how to do that. Your ability to do that is really important. Just like you're having a good time, you're at a social event, doing your thing, chatting. Next thing you know, hey, wait a minute, something's not right. Your ability to recognize it, feel it, associate it, manage your risk, identify it, and that type of thing is really important to do that quickly. The more quickly that you do that, the safer that you are. The more you can manage that risk. And then finally, after all the verbal things, I also teach you how to defend yourself physically. And I teach a tactical system called Krav Maga, which is an Israeli martial art. And it's an Israeli tactical system that's taught to the Israeli military and the Israeli law enforcement. I'm one of 3 instructors in the United States that can give rank in that. It's the same tactics I teach police, same tactics I teach to the military. It's a little different because it's a little bit more streamlined, actually a little better, I think, in my personal opinion, even than what I teach those folks. What it is it's assuming you've never trained before and you probably will never train again. So the idea is to give you really good ideas and good concepts on what will take you out of the fight as quickly as possible. If you do train or you have trained in the past, great, you're all that much better off. But it's really structured. Unfortunately, a lot of the programs that are self-defense programs are usually created by martial artists that really like their martial art, which is good, but it's very technique oriented. So at that day you're like, man, this is cool. I can learn how, I learned these 50 techniques on how to get out all this stuff. And a week later, I guarantee you don't remember one. And that's the problem. So the approach that we take is substantially different. What I want you to do is to remember some very, very basic concepts, and we go with the 18 most common types of attacks, and you learn situationally how to get out of them. And usually at the end of the course, I gear up in my riot gear, and you get to beat the snot out of me to whatever your comfort level is. But we take you through some scenarios, and you get to physically get out of situations, both standing and on the ground. Because let's face it, a lot of stuff happens on the ground, especially with the type of circumstance we're talking about.